This is Dr. Otto Janke for the New York Chiropractic Council podcast. We have a very special guest today who will be speaking with us at the Turning Stone coming up the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th of April. This is a noted leader in chiropractic and integrating chiropractic into sports medicine. This is Dr. Alan Sokoloff. Great to have you with us today.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here. And I have to tell you, I can't wait until we get to do this thing live. I mean, this is live, but yeah. I mean, like handshake, high five.
Absolutely. Let's do some of the roll call for you. This is fantastic, absolutely fantastic stuff. Ex-president of the Maryland Chiropractic Association, Maryland Chiropractor of the Year in 0102. The Team DC, you're going to see a wonderful helmet back there. The two-time Super Bowl champs, the Baltimore Ravens. You must have 1,000 stories about that. And for the Maryland Terps, you see he's got it on right there. Focus is the injury and concussion prevention. Is it a DVD that you have out, Tackling Concussion Head On?
Yeah, that's something I did a while ago when concussion was the new buzzword.
Sure.
So yes.
Okay. At Turning Stone, you're going to be talking about the successful integration of chiropractic and sports medicine and what you say can hurt you. Let's talk about concussions. I'm in a small town upstate New York. We have a D3 school right there. Are concussions that much more prevalent, or are they that better diagnosed now?
I think the answer is probably true to both.
Sure.
They're getting recognized more.
Right.
So my whole take on concussions, and we'll probably end up covering this up at Turning Stone, but my whole take on concussions is chiropractors in general are great educators. Like you yourself, before this discussion, we talked about how the things that you've learned, you have a great ability to share and teach. That's what I think, that's the nature of what chiropractic is. So in my community, in my county, every 3 years, a youth coach has to go through a series of seminars to be recertified for another 3 years. And that includes my concussion awareness class.
Cool.
And in that, it is not, hey, come see me when your kid gets concussed. That's not what I do. Does he need to, to go to the ER? Does he need to see a neurologist and all that stuff? But my job is basically educating parents, educating coaches, and educating kids of what to look for in concussion. And then if your kid gets dinged and you take them someplace and they're cleared or they're not getting better, and it's something that may be cervicogenic versus the concussion, and where can we help? And oh, by the way, like one of the things that we do in college and professional sports, yes, they have their people that deal with the concussion, but everybody's so focused on that. What about the mechanism of injury? And
Sure.
Who better to take care of the mechanism of injury than us, right?
Absolutely. Is there much of a difference in the mechanism of injury in sports as versus almost everyday life?
No, zero.
Really?
And it is just mechanism of injury. Like I've spoken to groups, and I used to do full concussion lectures, and I'm like, how many of you guys here have treated a patient with concussion? And only half of the people would raise their hands. And I'm like, you guys are liars. You've had auto accidents. You've had kids
Sure.
that fell out of bed. So it's there. And
I had a young woman in my office, and she was 19 and says she's had at least 3 diagnosed. And she says, I don't know how many other undiagnosed or misdiagnosed concussions. It is a frightening state we're having with our young athletes. What's the youngest athletes you start to see?
As young as they could be physical. Are you talking about seeing concussions in?
Either.
Typically, middle to high school. I have a daughter who is a D1 University of Maryland soccer player. And she has gotten around the curve of not getting a concussion. And if you know the statistical things in concussion, women are 3 times more likely than guys to get a concussion while playing soccer. And she's kind of skirted around that.
So Alan, let me stop there. Why do you think, why is that?
Well, this is part of my lecture, but I'll give it away now, and then you can take a nap if I bring it up during the lecture.
I'll be in the front row, dude.
Okay. So there's a couple of reasons, and some are theory and some are science.
Sure.
So science, women have weaker necks than men. Girls have weaker necks than boys in general. And I don't want to get into the whole gender thing. So, if you get hit, imagine, just that bobblehead.
Sure.
And the head sloshing around and the brain sloshing around inside the head, causing the concussion. Greater likelihood because of neck strength, number one. Number two, or it should be 1A, is we don't do things to strengthen our neck anymore, unless you wrestle. Then you're doing bridges and things like that. But I remember playing high school football. We used to do certain exercises with our helmets on to help strengthen our neck. And did that 2 or 3 minutes make a difference? Probably not, but it did something. So number one is neck strength. Number two is going to be technique. Who's coaching these kids? Who's coaching them in how to head the ball? So some mastermind someplace thought, let's take heading the ball out of it until you're 14 years old, because then your muscles have developed. Okay, so great. So you didn't take the time to learn depth perception, ball trajectory, when you should have, when you're an adolescent, you're a kid. And this is another reason why, and this one was brought to me by a prominent soccer coach, actually from New York, who said the greatest cause of women having concussions in soccer more than men is women don't learn trajectory until it's too late. Meaning that, like, when we're young, you and I go out, we'd play catch, we'd play ball. You could track the ball, you know where the ball is, you can estimate the height. Doesn't happen as much for women and girls in general.
Right.
So that is a problem. And then you take away, okay, who's coaching the girls? Usually it's dad.
Right.
Where is dad learning how to play? And technique. And safety. And then if you want to really dig into layers, you could go to referees. Referees who, here's another statistic. What's the number one cause of concussion in young female soccer players? What would you think?
Wouldn't it be the heading of the ball? Heading
the ball. That's who you would think. Wrong answer. But the correct answer is an upper extremity from somebody else to the head of somebody else. So it's not even really, it's not even heading the ball. So it comes down to coaches teaching good sportsmanship, because you and I know when we were younger, if there's a competitive game and your team's getting their ass kicked, right, then things start to get a little chippy. Yep. And if you don't have a good referee who's strong enough to say, you can't do that, you can't do that, and they just let them play, that's an issue. If the referee lets them play with the same heavy, wet ball, if they're playing out in the rain, that could be a contributing issue too. Right? You open the door. Come on, Otto, you open the door, I'm coming in.
This is a fraction. This is only a small fraction of what you're going to get in the attorney's stone. I recommend you're going to be buckled up for this one and make sure you have about 17 different pieces of paper for yourself coming up on that. Absolutely fundamental. Absolutely fundamental. Let's talk about some of the cool stuff. How'd you get going with the Ravens?
Well, and that is a popular question, and I go through this with everybody, and we'll get into it in depth, but it comes down to, is it luck or is it persistence? Yeah, I'm lucky to do what I do, or was I persistent to want to do what I do? And it's probably a combination of both.
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to get involved in sports. I'm originally from New Jersey. As I mentioned, my dad's from the Bronx, my mom's from South Jersey, and I have a lot of family in New York. So I grew up a New York Giants fan. I love football. I came to practice in Maryland. And when I got here, the Colts were here and they left. And I'm like, oh my gosh, now there's no football, but I still like sports. I went and got involved with my local college here, where I actually went to college, and I started working in the training room there and getting my hands on all different types of athletes. And then I was going to work for this team called the Baltimore, I think they were the Baltimore Stars, that Donald Trump owned.
Sure.
And I actually had an interview with him and the team it was August 22nd, and the league folded on August 21st, whatever that year was. So I didn't get to do that. Then the Ravens came to town, and prior to them coming, they said, I sent them a letter saying, hey, I'm Alan Sokoloff. I have this training. I'm a chiropractor. Love to work with you guys when you come to town. And I got a letter back from their head athletic trainer, who I ended up working for in the end. And it said, thank you so much for your submission of this letter. However, our athletic trainers have been trained in spinal mobilization from the DOs when we were in Cleveland, because we inherited the old Cleveland Browns. And I was like, oh. So, I felt like someone stuck it in and twisted.
Sure.
And anyway, as time went on, I got to know the head team physician for the Baltimore Ravens when they came, because he was now working with the smaller college I was with. And he got to see me work. And then it took one athlete who said, I don't want you touching me. I want to be seen by a chiropractor. Wow. And I need this. He said, I need my talus adjusted. He started going through things that I didn't even have that class yet. So I got asked to come up and treat this one athlete. And then while I was there, another guy yells, hey, why aren't you treating me? And then I'm like, oh, I can't. I'm here to treat him. So I got asked to come back next week. Sure. And then it ultimately grew. 2 Super Bowls later, 23 years later, I'm still here.
I think a fascinating part, if you ever could do this, is how to get DCs into helping local colleges, even small ones like the D3 we have here.
That's what I will be spending time doing.
Awesome. Absolutely phenomenal.
That's what you want. That's what I'm going to do, because I believe, chiropractic has so many different parts to it and different things. You were sharing what you do. I believe that there is no better way for chiropractic to become more prominent in the public than through sports.
Sure.
Everybody understands sports.
Everybody.
And I am privileged and fortunate enough to work with young kids all the way up. And if people see that happening on TV, and they see it happening in their neighborhoods, and if it's good enough for that athlete, then why isn't it good enough for me?
Absolutely.
And it is good enough.
Absolutely. We start to see those young dancers who are 3, 4, 5 years old. Then the young peewee wrestlers in our office too. And again, I'm in a small rural town in upstate New York, but we're seeing them young.
Right. But you hit the nail on the head. Let's go with dancers. Both my daughters danced. And so I got tied into the dance community. I didn't know what a plie was, or a tour jeté, or a battement and all that. But I know mechanics, right? And I know how the body's supposed to work. And to this day, I'm still seeing dancers from the studio that they went to because of the seeds that I planted 20 years ago.
Sure.
And good for you. One other thing too, because you mentioned being in a small town, treating a couple wrestlers, treating, dancers. we can't emphasize to docs like yourself and everybody else how important your hands are on those people to me doing what I do. And the perfect example comes up over and over again when I get to work on an athlete who asks for chiropractic care because I said, oh, I've always had it. How did I get that first patient with the Ravens? Because he was raised on chiropractic care, came from a small town in Nowheresville, Pennsylvania,
Right.
and he saw a chiropractor there.
Right.
And then he got to see a chiropractor when he went to Syracuse up in New York, and then came to the NFL. This is what he wanted. He was treated in with the Minnesota Vikings and then ended up coming here. So I'm thankful for what I do. I'm lucky for what I do. But if it's not for the docs that are in the trenches, I'm nothing. And, oh, by the way, I'm still in the trenches 5 days a week. So
Awesome.
It ain't all glamour.
Coming up April 22nd, 23rd, and 24th at the Turning Stone. This is a dropper of what you're going to be getting up at the Turning Stone from this man, Dr. Alan Sokoloff. I can't thank you enough. I'm looking forward to it. I'll be the handsome guy in the front row taking all the notes right there.
I got you. We're gonna have fun, and we're gonna share. And if I could say this, and you've been to 2,500 different seminars over time.
Sure.
And my goal is always to walk away with one thing, and you're like, you know what, gosh darn it. And I will promise you too. You will walk away with a couple of different ideas that you can start doing in your office Monday.
Right.
And the other part is when the thing breaks. By the way, you guys are rocking this seminar, and I haven't even been there yet. I already made reservations for a court time. I'm bringing my wife. She plays tennis, but I want to spend time outside of the doors. Feel
Sure.
free to ask questions. Feel free to, whatever we need to bounce off. And how long am I speaking for? 2, 4, 6, 12 hours?
I think,
whatever it is. If we need to take a little more, we take a little more.
2 hours talks, but one of the cool things, you're going to have dinner with us, all of us on Saturday night. Bring your wife, and you're going to mingle with all of us. And then the docs are going to be talking to you and asking you the questions they're going to want to know too. Also.
Oh, nice. I'm looking forward to it now.
Yeah, it's a great gig we have. And you know about the spa time, of course.
No, please tell me. And it's good promo for everybody who hasn't been.
One of the greatest things is we have speakers on Friday, Saturday morning, then Saturday afternoon we have off, and you go either to the spa, and then they have a great spa there. Get the great massage, the sauna, the steam. You get the sauna, the spa, or you can go golfing on one of their world-class golf courses. Then we meet later on. All meet together for dinner, and it's one of the greatest gigs in chiropractic, and we just love it.
Oh, I can't wait! And thank you so much again for inviting me.
Our pleasure. This is going to be a dropper of what you're going to be getting at the Turning Stone, April 22nd, 23rd. It's going to be nuts. It's going to be great. You're going to have that guy. I hope he's over there. That guy speaking. And this is Dr. Alan Sokoloff. It's going to be great. We're going to see you there. That guy's going to rock it.